It's time to continue our NCAA football win total series, and we are still in the Mountain West, and we're on to Nevada. And this used to be a pretty dang good program. If we go all the way back to 2000, they went 2-10 under Chris Tormey, and then he built the program up, got to 6-6, and then left after 2003. Chris Alt comes in, he goes 5-7 his first year, and then rattles off 8 straight bowl games. Brian Polian comes in 2013, 4-8 the first year, then 2 straight bowl games. Goes 5-7 his last year and enters Jay Norvell. Jay Norvell went 3-9 his first year, and then went to 4 straight bowl games. And then he blindsides Nevada. Leaves after the 2021 season, before the bowl game. Takes a ton of recruits, a ton of coaches with him, and enter Ken Wilson. Ken Wilson goes 2-10 his first year, and then last year it was another disaster. They start by losing to USC. They just get demolished 66-14, and then they lost to Idaho. FCS Idaho is 33-6. They would lose their next 4 after that before their first win. It was a 6-0 win at San Diego State. They come home to play New Mexico, win by 10, and then they finish up by losing their last 4. And the losses weren't even close. I mean, they lost to Hawaii at home by 13. Then next week it's 17. Then 10 to Colorado State. Then they lost 42-6 to Wyoming. It was a complete disaster, and that gets the coach fired. In comes Jeff Choate, former Montana State coach. He brought him to the playoffs back in 2018 and 2019, and he's expected to take over and rebuild this program. Problem is, he's a defensive coach, and the offense was awful last year. Matt Lubbock's going to be the offensive coordinator. He's been at Kansas, Nebraska, Washington, Oregon. The offense, though, has so much to work on. First, it has to start with the O-line. It was one of the worst in the nation. They allowed the most tackles and loss in the nation. The quarterback was under constant pressure. They have to be better this year. They bring back some experience. They bring in, they keep Isaiah World. They bring in some transfers. Hopefully, they're better. Brendan Lewis will be back at quarterback. He's the former Colorado starter. He only threw 2 touchdown passes last year, but he had no time to work. Chuba Purdy comes from Florida State. He should be able to push Lewis, if not take that starting job. Receiving corps is a complete reset, though. All 7 guys who had at least 100 yards last year, gone. So they bring in West Virginia transfer Cortez Braum, and then Nate Burleson, the second's back after breaking his wrist last year. On defense, the defense was awful as well. The linebacking core is probably the best part of it, but pass rusher Marcel Walker-Burgess is in the transfer portal. He led the team in sacks last year with 4. They keep Drew Watts. He's a good linebacker, but he's small. They bring in Wisconsin's Caden Johnson. He should help on the outside. This is going to have to be a good rotational group. Secondary, good corners. KK Meyer showed some promise last year. Safety tandem solid. The secondary is going to be the best part of this team, but there is so much to build on, to have to build up for Jeff Choate. This is almost a year 0 situation where he's starting from scratch. We look at their schedule this year. They start with SMU. That's going to be a loss. They go to Troy. That's going to be a loss. Then it's Georgia Southern. Probably a loss. I'll give that the toss up. At Minnesota is going to be a loss. At best, they're 1-4. Then they get Eastern Washington at home. They lost to Idaho last year. That could be a loss. We'll give it a toss-up. So at best, they've got 2 wins before their bye. San Jose State's on the road, probably a loss. Then they have Oregon State and Fresno State, both at home, also losses. They have to go to Hawaii. Colorado State and Boise State are next, probably both losses before the bye. And then it just gets harder. It's Air Force and UNLV to finish the season. Maybe they can surprise some stuff. Maybe they can pull off an upset at Hawaii. Maybe they'll beat Eastern Washington. Maybe they'll upset Georgia Southern at home or beat San Jose State on the road. But it's hard to see a path for this team being better than last year. And we see that in the win totals. 2.5 is the number across the board with the under favored. I agree with the under here, but there is one book that doesn't have the under favored, and that's what we're going to hit. We're going to go to DraftKings. Their under 2.5 is at -110. They have this over slightly favored at -120. We're going to hit that -110 under 2.5 wins for Nevada this year.